In today's show, we talk about the value of the Blazers playing fast, Portland using its G League team for the first time, and play another game of You'd Love to See It. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You listen to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you every single weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make it your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. It's Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's episode, got a fun one for you on a Friday. You were listening to Friday, November 10th show. I appreciate you. Hope you have a good weekend. And if you have today off because you get bank holidays off, happy for you too. Happy for you get to enjoy yourself a long little weekend. Blazers get a long weekend too. They last played on Wednesday. They got Thursday, Friday, Saturday off in LA. I thought the team was going to come home, but they traveled to LA. They're spending a weekend in Southern California before playing the Lakers on Sunday. And because of the timing of that game, it just doesn't make sense to do sort of a traditional preview. We had done previews in the past of this season. We've done a bunch of game previews, but we don't even know who's going to play in that game for the Blazers. Scoot Henderson's availability, Malcolm Brogdon's availability is up in the air. We'll talk about that more later in the show. But even the Lakers, they play Friday evening, like in hours. I'm recording this early Friday morning. They play in about 12 hours from now. And Anthony Davis is questionable for that game. So like previewing specifically a Sunday matchup 2 days ahead is not going to be easy for us. So instead, we're going to bounce around a little bit with some fun stuff I've got prepared for you. First, value of pace, as we'll talk about to open the show. Then the Blazers, they've sent a couple guys down to the G League, and why I think that's why I think it's good to see them already committing to that type of development. And then we'll play another round of You'd Love to See It, talking about things you'd love to see when the Blazers next hit the floor. It's our little predictive preview game, my little predictive preview game that I've got for you. We will cook that up in the third segment. But first, let's talk about the value of playing fast. It's been a thing all season for the Blazers. They want to play fast. They want to play fast. And you can only play as fast as your talent. Like, if you have guys who can excel at speed, you can play at speed. If you can run, because you got a bunch of dudes who can run, then you can do that. And when the Blazers were full, when they were whole, and they had Scoot Henderson, and they had Anfernee Simons, and they had more ball handlers and more athletes, and more shooting, quite frankly, just with Anfernee Simons on the court, like so you could hit it ahead and scare people with space. Playing fast was a thing that they were maybe going to be capable of. I don't think with their current group that playing super duper fast is even really possible. Just not enough dudes who can dribble, not enough shooting to really spread teams out and to get into stuff. And I'm not talking just about running, like getting steals and running. I'm not talking about fast breaks necessarily, or and switching end to end quickly. Old Wes Unseld outlet passes. I was not alive during Wes Unseld's playing days. The person I know who throws outlet passes is Kevin Love, but that's for the older crowd. Wes Unseld outlet passes. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I mean, it'd be fun if they played that way, but teams don't really, and I don't think the Blazers are currently capable of. They're 20th in fast break points to begin this season through Thursday night's games, and they're 17th in points off turnovers. They're not, points off turnovers. Some it's just like maybe they don't shoot very well, but they're not a team that's necessarily capable of just running, and I think it's too reductive to say they got to run, because that's like it isn't that simple. But boy, is it valuable. Boy, is it valuable. And this is why we talk about it so much. They mentioned it, the team mentioned it a million times heading into the season. It was a huge focus of them. And maybe when Scoot Henderson gets back and he's healthy and he's more comfortable and all those things, maybe we can revisit this and say, okay, now that they're capable of doing it, how did they do it? But now I just want to talk about, I want to give you a little look into how important it is. And when I talk about playing with pace, I'm talking about getting into stuff quickly. When the Blazers take a shot within the first 9 seconds of the shot clock, they shoot 51% from the floor. 51% from the floor, and 33.8% from three. You might say, Mike, 34% from three is bad. I'll say, yeah, but they're a 30% three-point shooting team overall. And when they wait in the clock, it gets a lot worse. So if they go in those first 9 seconds, this is why I'm not talking about necessarily fast breaks, right? First 9 seconds is like before the clock gets to 15, right? Go quickly, get into your stuff, run double drag, somebody shoots off that. It's personnel based. I'm not sure that they can do that with a great deal of regularity, but I'm just talking about why we talk about it, why it's valuable, and if they can get the personnel back, why it's valuable. 51% from the floor. It's an effective field goal percentage of 57% when you count the value of three. So 51% from the floor, including 34% from three, 33.8% from three if they take a shot in the first 9 seconds. Get into it quickly, run your action, get the ball to the corner, get that first good shot up, get 2 passes and get a shot up, attack and get a shot up. If you get in that first 9 seconds, they've been pretty good. In the final 15 seconds of the shot clock hits 15, counts down, late in the clock, obviously, you're going to get bad shots. Everyone knows you're up against it. But the final 15 seconds, so a big swath of the shot clock. The Blazers are shooting 38% from the floor and 27.6% from three in the final 15 seconds of the shot clock. Once that 9-second mark, things change. The bulk of their shots are going to come in the middle of the clock. It's just how it works. Like, nobody wants to work late clock. It's hard to get a shot off even before like the 17-second mark, because it's just hard to get across the court and get into a shot. So it's just hard to do it. It's hard to do it. So the value, the majority of the Blazers offense comes in the sort of the middle of the clock, and it struggles. Like, you watch them, they're a bad half court offense. They're a bad half court offense because they're really light on shooting. They're a bad half court offense because right now, like as currently, they just don't have enough dribble pass guys like dudes who can take you off the dribble and make good higher level reads, break down defenses, and make passes. They're just that's just a personnel problem and a health problem. They're missing. They keep the players who are good at that on the roster are already not that many, and all of those gentlemen seem to be getting injured. It stinks, but. Late in the clock, the back half of the shot clock, last 15 seconds, 38% from the floor, 28%. We'll round up. 28% from three. That's an effective field goal percentage of 43%. So if they take a shot in the first 15 seconds of the clock, it's a 57% effective field goal percentage. What that is accounting that threes are worth more than 2-pointers. There's 50% more. So 57% effective field goal percentage versus 43% effective field goal percentage. Pace matters. Playing with pace matters. They don't need to run, but they need to get into stuff and prioritize getting into their actions and getting into looks early. Like, this is, I took a lot of Latin as a youth. There's a Latin phrase, festina lente, means make haste slowly. And I think shout out to Lauren's boyfriend and local middle school basketball coach who taught me that encouraging his middle schoolers to play quickly but not rush, and that's festina lente. The Blazers need to play quickly, but they don't need to rush, because those first 9 seconds of the shot clock is where all their gold is buried. That is where their offense is gonna be a lot more successful, because when you get into it and with the skill sets they have in the half court, they're going to struggle. They got to make haste. They got to festina lente, make haste slowly. Get into your stuff quickly and get a good shot in those first 9 seconds, because then it gets hard. There's value in pace. I don't mean to say like this is a thing that they need to do this weekend or this week. This is just like in general why we talk about pace and why the team talks about pace, because it's just so much more valuable to get shots early in the clock before the defense can really sit down and before they know what you're going to do, and know what okay, the first action didn't work. Now you got to scramble and get into other stuff. Oh darn, late clock ISO. Like, those are hard shots. The value of pace. It truly, truly matters. I think we all know it intuitively, but I wanted to give you the numbers behind it. And when the Blazers are fully healthy, perhaps they can get back to it. Let's talk Rip City Remix. The Blazers sent a couple guys down to the Rip City Remix. Somewhat curious because they're just they're a little light on availability, but I think there's value in just trusting this process and getting folks reps. Let's talk about the reps, the remix, and who the Blazers even might have available Sunday when they play the Lakers All of that in the second segment. First, I want to tell you about the good folks at Jase Medical. Jase Medical is a service that wants to make sure you have peace of mind. So you have the medications you need in hand whenever anything in life comes up, whether that's big moments that disrupt things or just like the peace of mind to know, hey, that's in the cabinet, and when I need it, I will have it. So I've told you about Jase Medical offering you things like life-saving antibiotics, but right now, they're offering more than just that, including a 1-year supply of ED medications. So what if you're going on, extended travel, or you're worried about supply chain issues, or you just want to make sure it's in the cabinet when you need it? You don't have to worry whether you can refill your generics for Cialis or Viagra, and this is possible because Jase Medical wants to take out the hassle of your life. So go online right now at jasemedical.com to receive your 12-month supply of your daily medication. Remember, while you're there, to use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for a discount as well. If you or someone you love would get that peace of mind from having a year's supply of any daily medicine, be it antibiotics or your ED medication, go to jasemedical.com and see if it's offered for you. And remember, when you're there, to use that promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. That's Jase, Jase medical.com. All right. Talk the value of pace. Let's talk the value of the G League. The Blazers on Thursday assigned 2 players to the Rip City remix. Rayan Rupert, who's yet to play in meaningful minutes, and Kris Murray, who played his first half regular minutes against the Kings. And he played second half minutes. Blazers played 9 guys in the second half. Murray was one of the 9 guys who played in the second half. But both of them are headed down to the G League. They're headed to the Rip City remix. It's not. They don't have far to travel. Really, that just means that those 2 gentlemen are in Portland, while the rest of the team remains in Los Angeles for now, in sunny Southern California, ahead of their weekend meeting with Lakers. I do not know if these gentlemen will be, if Rupes and Kris Murray will be called up ahead of Sunday's game. I would assume they would, right? Because if you just say, okay, Malcolm Brogdon, hamstring strain, he's probably not going to play Sunday. Scoot Henderson, ankle injury, he's been out for 10 days, 12 days. Maybe he doesn't play Sunday, right? Like maybe he's not available. If you don't have Brogdon, you don't have Scoot, you have 9 available players. Skylar Mays, Shaedon Sharpe, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, Jabari Walker, Justin Minaya, and Moses Brown. Duop has not dressed this year. He's been kept him out with on the G League assignment because he has not been on the active roster. But I don't think you can go into an NBA game intentionally with 9. So part of me thinks, and maybe by the time you listen to this, this will have sorted itself out, that Rupert and Murray will be recalled from the G League and will just travel down to LA and we'll be on the active roster on Sunday, and this won't be a thing. But the point is, this is the value of the G League. This is why you do it, right? This is for guys who aren't going to play, and I think this is like maybe an important note to understand during the NBA season. Teams don't practice very much. But even when you have, they don't, it's just the nature of it. But even when you do have these long stretches off, and the Blazers played Wednesday, they have, they traveled Thursday from Sacramento to LA. It's a pretty short flight. They have all of Friday off and all of Saturday off. They're not going to put all available players out on the floor and have a really physical practice. One, they're just they're light on available bodies. So even if everyone was available, it's like, okay, all 11 of you go out and have like a 2-hour physical practice. One, there's just like some health science around, like you probably don't want to, they play way too many games as is. You don't want to extend them in practice. And 2, you just can't risk the sort of like, oops, I stepped on someone's foot and now I have a bum ankle or whatever it might be, or I got hit in the face fighting for a rebound in practice. Like teams just don't do it. They don't have those like full contact practices very often during the season. So the way to get young guys reps, the way to get young guys work is to use the G League. And the Blazers have, and if you have it locally like the Blazers do now with the remix, then this is the way you do it. Rayan Rupert is like, the way to get him a full contact, really actual real practice using the same language the Blazers do, the same sets the Blazers do, the same approach the Blazers do, and it was the value of the in-house G League team, is to send him to the remix for a weekend. Same with Kris Murray. I think the idea of Kris Murray is really valuable for what the Blazers need. He's a versatile defender, shooting left-handed forward who can play both positions, but he's behind Toumani Camara right now in the lineup. He's behind Jabari Walker. Both those gentlemen are just like straight up better. Toumani Camara has been really good on defense. Jabari did not have a great game Wednesday, but typically he's been just solid, and he brings a sort of level of aggression on the boards and activity where he's been helpful. Albeit obviously with the caveats about the Blazers offense, et cetera, but Murray is behind those gentlemen to get the fully realized version of Kris Murray. Send him to the G League. I think this is real valuable. And moreover, what I like about this is it shows that the Blazers are continuing to think about the big picture. Okay. We're incredibly shorthanded right now. We're coming. We need bodies, but what we really need is our players to be good be ready into the future G League assignments. So if they don't come back, like if they're not there in LA on Sunday night, maybe you could read it as your tinfoil hat positive. Guess who's going to be available? But I'm not going to speculate on that. But the injury report and which rookie point guard might be available. But I don't think this suggests this. I think what it suggests is that the Blazers are taking the developmental approach with their young players that aren't quite ready to contribute on an NBA team seriously. I will say it's noteworthy to me that Justin Minaya doesn't get sent to the remix. Justin Minaya is on a two-way contract, and you know what? The Blazers think his level of defense, and he played in that game on Wednesday night. He was part of the 9-man rotation on Wednesday night. They think his defensive activity is more helpful in an NBA game right now, and he needs less, maybe not needs less reps, but there's more valuable for rookies, Murray and Rupert, to go get that G League seasoning, go get that G League practice and all of that. I think, go play, go play with the team and get your minutes. I think, I like the approach. I like the approach from the Blazers in general. I think we will see how it plays out this season and whether they continue to kind of send guys down for a couple practices and all that. But, in the second half of the Blazers game against the Kings, they didn't bring Moses Brown back. They played small with Toumani Camara and Jabari Walker and Brown and Rupert. They played with the wings, and they were comfortable with it. Can they do that again against the Lakers? Maybe. I think depending on who's available for the Lakers, I think you can continue to kind of battle them and see if you can play all your wings and play just here are our most effective players and go for it. But if they need Moses Brown to play and Kris Murray's unavailable, I think the value of getting developmental minutes in the G League is obvious and useful, and you like to see it. Speaking of stuff you'd like to see, we're playing another game of You'd Love to See It to close the show. This is where we talk about the next game ahead and things that we would truly, truly love to see. That's what we will do to close the show. A couple things you'd love to see featuring Matisse, Thybulle, and DeAndre Ayton, and a little bit of appreciation of Shaedon Sharpe's game. Join me in the final segment of the week as we talk about things you'd love to see. But first, Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy. I play Prize Picks on the app. I think the app is super easy to use, and how it works is you make an entry between 2 and 6 players. You pick your sport, and you pick more or less than the projections set by Prize Picks. So I play the NBA. You can play all mix and match sports if you want. You can play all NHL if you're a hockey person. If you're a hockey person listening to this podcast, cool, right on. If you want to play NFL, you can play the NFL, but you can mix and match a little bit of NFL stats, a little bit of hockey stats, a little bit of the NBA. But how it works is you pick a ballot between 2, and you make an entry between 2 and 6 players, and it's just you versus these Prize Picks projections. So for me, it's things like when I'm playing, I see things like points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and I say more or less. I say Shaedon Sharpe, he's getting a block on Sunday. Give it to me. Jeremy Grant, he's getting that 4th rebound. I'm going more than 3.5 rebounds, and I'll go less than 3.5 assists for Jeremy Grant because known hater Mike Richmond. But it's just you versus those projections. It's not the field. It's not sharks. It's not big game people. It's just you versus the numbers. And when you win, you get your money quickly. So if you're a first time player, why don't you go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a deposit match up to $100. If you're a first time user, they'll match you dollar for dollar up to $100. You put in $100, match you $100. Put in $50, they'll match you $50. But you got to go to PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA to play and use that code LockedOnNBA. It's PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond. You are still listening to Locked On Blazers. We talked the value of the G League. We talked the value of pace. Now let's look ahead. This is usually the spot where we do the sort of preview of the Lakers game, but too many uncertainties between now and then. So instead, we'll do another version or another segment. I think it's a segment. Another segment of You'd Love to See It, where we talk about things you'd love to see in this game. One of the secrets to the Blazers' sauce this year, one of the reasons that they're still competitive, and they are competitive. I would say that's like the most rewarding part of the season is that they've been competitive in these games. Getting waxed early in the season, they kind of settle down. They're competitive. They play hard. They keep themselves in the game. They're competitive. They get after it on defense, and their offense has been just good enough to hang while their defense has kind of kept them in games. But one of the secrets of their offense is even remotely functional this year is that they get to the free throw line. They shoot free throws. They're 11th in free throw rate. And a lot of that is Jeremy Grant and Shaedon Sharpe. I think one of the best parts about Shaedon Sharpe's growth this season is that he's shooting 5 free throw attempts per game. Aggressive, getting to the rim, drawing contact, accepting contact, knowing that drives and being aggressive off the dribble and using his functional athleticism to get himself to the rim is going to get him free points. He's 5 free throw attempts a game is a great number for Sharpe. It's a great indicator for Sharpe. It is truly one of the things that I've appreciated most about his growth is that he's just like, this is what really good players do in this league is they are relentless in making you guard them. They draw fouls and they get downhill. And then they use the threat of getting downhill and getting all the way to the rim to open up their jump shot, open up their mid-range pull-ups. Like Sharpe's arsenal has to include free throws, and so far it has. It's one thing I've really, really liked about his offensive growth this season. If they could get guys to set him harder screens, Rob Williams definitely the best screener on the roster. Get well soon, Rob. He could even get more of these. But I want to talk about things you'd love to see, and the number I would love to see on Sunday night when the Blazers play the Los Angeles Lakers is 5. If you'll remember last game, heading into the Kings game, the number I'd love to see was 14 field goal attempts, and that was for DeAndre Ayton, a season-high 14 field goal attempts. He did it. 14 field goal attempts, finished with 18 points and 10 boards, had a great fourth quarter with 8 points on 4-4 shooting, all mid-range pull-ups. Mid-range jumpers, mostly catch-and-shoot variety. DA was good in that game. He was good and he was aggressive, and they did a better job of finding him, and they kind of went away from him or didn't know how to use him yet again when they got to OT. But they didn't have Shaedon Sharpe, and they're just like they're missing. They need, because of how limited their skill set is. They need their players they need their best players on the court. They need their sort of dribble and pass guys on the court in order to set up anything on offense, or it can get clunky in a hurry. It's already clunky to begin with, but clunky in a hurry. So the thing I would love to see in this game is 5 free throw attempts. 5. Here's the number for you. I want to see Matisse, Thybulle, and DeAndre Ayton combine for 5 or more free throw attempts. That doesn't seem like that many, right? But it is a massive number. The Blazers through 8 games. I've played 8 games. Matisse, Thybulle, and DA have combined for 8 total free throw attempts. 8 total. 8 total for 2 players who are in the starting lineup. They average 1 a game between them. Matisse Thybulle had not taken a free throw attempt until Wednesday night against the Kings when he had 5. He got them all in the first half, and they all came the same way. He's going to space to the corner. That's going to be his role, right? He's not a great passer, not a great ball handler, and his value is going to be eventual 3-and-D presence. He was 1 for 4 on threes in that game. I thought he should have taken one at the end of the game and sent it to double OT, but whatever, he didn't. But Thybulle has to be aggressive. He has to be. And his free throws in the game against the Kings all came the same way. He catches it in the corner, closeout comes, he attacks the closeout, gets himself to the middle of the paint, and scores trying to make a layup. Drive from the corner, get to the middle of the paint. Attacking the paint, getting the touches in the paint, and being able to pass or make plays, shoot, pass, make plays from there is the whole principle of Chauncey Billups and many offenses around the league, but the whole principle of the offense. Drive, get a paint touch, make the defense guard you, either get a shot off from there or share the ball. Matisse Thybulle they're going to help off Thybulle. They don't guard him like a shooter. I know he shot well in his 20-some games with the Blazers last season, but teams do not guard him like a shooter. He is going to catch the ball in the corner with space. And I want him to do 2 things. I want him to make quick decisions. 1, shoot it. Shoot it. Shoot it. 30% on the team from 3. You're not going to hurt anyone taking 3-pointers, particularly open catch and shoot from the corner. But when he doesn't do that, or when he sees the closeout coming hard, attack, be aggressive. 4 of 5 from the free throw line, all the same way. Drive from the corner, get into the middle of the paint, draw a foul. He had 2 free throws, shooting fouls, 1 and 1. Went 4 of 5 from the line. He had not attempted a free throw before those. He took 5 in the first half against the Kings. Huge number for him, 5. DeAndre Ayton, 18 and 10 against the Kings, did not attempt a free throw. He's taken 3 all season long. Matisse Thybulle taken 0 till Wednesday, took 5. DeAndre Ayton's taken 3 all season long. I am not asking DeAndre Ayton to change his just like core who he is, right? I think like a big part of the NBA is that we say, what if he did this? But like some of it is just like, this is what he does. How can you turn it up? Like, how can you turn the dial up a little bit? For his career, DeAndre Ayton it takes 2.6 free throw attempts per game. Last year in Phoenix, he took a career high 3 a game. He is not someone who gets to the line with regularity. First of all, it's just not how he wants to play. He is not someone who puts crazy pressure on the rim. He finishes some lob dunks, but he's not like Amari Stoudemire rolling hard to the paint. He's not commanding crazy pressure and he's not really, really physical in his post-ups. He's a really good mid-range shooter. That's where he's comfortable in. That's what he's good at. And like at some point, do what you're good at. Like Matisse Thybulle had a good point about that in at Media Day way back when that I think about a lot. Is like the reason you're in the league, and he mentioned this about himself, the reason you're in the league is because of what you do well. So it's more important to do what you do well every time and do it at the highest level and then worry about your weaknesses. So I don't need DeAndre Ayton to change his stripes drastically because I don't think he can. And I think you still want him to take catch and shoot 15-footers because that's what he's good at, and that will open up his game and the offense and all those things, right? Like him scoring and shooting from the middle of the court is fine. But being aggressive to drawing free throws, even if it's not shooting fouls, right? If it's getting aggressive when the Blazers are in the bonus to just get yourself to the free throw line, he's a good free throw shooter, has good touch, shoots above 75% for his career. It's 3 of 3 on the season, 100%, right? The thing I would love to see against the Lakers, I would love to see it. Matisse Thybulle, DeAndre Ayton combined for 5 free throws, however you splice it, because it's a good indicator, right? Matisse Thybulle cannot stay on the court if he's not aggressive. It's why he hasn't played, and Chauncey Billups has mentioned it. It's why he has. It's why he's passed up some shots or has lost his aggression. And it's like, hey, if you're not gonna be an aggressive offensive player, we can't play you. And that's why Toumani Camara in some ways has closed that, and that he's just like a better sort of traditional get in a stance type of defender, better length and all that, but. If the Blazers are shorthanded with no Malcolm Brogdon still and potentially no Scoot Henderson still on Sunday, Matisse Thybulle is going to have to play and play a bunch. So him being aggressive on offense is key. And Ayton has to play all the time for the Blazers, who are also down a center. So like Ayton's going to play a bunch, and I want him to continue to be aggressive. 5 is the thing I'd like to see. 5 free throw attempts. I think it'll be a good indicator for your pinwheels. That's going to do it for today's show. Apologies to the audio listeners for this one coming out a little bit late. Life gets in the way sometimes, but here's your Friday show, Friday, November 10th show. I appreciate you. To my YouTube watchers, You didn't even know this one was late because it's coming out about an hour after. It's coming out about an hour after it typically does on Friday morning. Do me a favor. Tell your friends about the show. We got Blazers games next week, Sunday, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. We got a in-season tournament game Tuesday against the Jazz, Wednesday back against the Cavaliers, and then Friday again against the Lakers in another in-season tournament game. 4 games next week. Going to be a whole bunch of fun. Guess what? We will talk about all of them right here on the show. Next time you hear me, we'll be talking about the Lakers game. That'll be Sunday evening show. Look for that one. It'll be Monday show, but it'll come out on Sunday evening. It's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts. Tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.